We are analyzing a data set of 4 audio transcripts. These recordings function as engineered linguistic structures, measuring specific cognitive processing thresholds within a standardized framework. The dataset is calibrated on a sliding scale of complexity. It begins with the extraction of concrete transactional facts, like phone numbers and dates, and systematically escalates into the synthesis of abstract academic concepts. Across all 4 recordings, test designers utilize 3 primary mechanisms to obscure information. First is the signpost, which signals that relevant information is approaching. Second is the target data, the actual required answer. And third is the distractor, an incorrect answer placed adjacent to the target. Successfully isolating the target data depends on identifying the structural rules governing each specific phase of the audio. This architectural framework is divided into 4 distinct phases: the transactional dialogue, the instructional monologue, the dialectical discussion, and the academic monologue. Failing to recognize which specific framework is in use makes filtering contextual noise and isolating the target data nearly impossible. The first dataset features a standard multi-speaker transactional dialogue. In this scenario, a man reports property damage to an insurance company representative. The immediate cognitive task is precise alphanumeric extraction. The listener must parse a complex policy reference string embedded in the natural flow of conversation: 0544 3CHI 771. Once the baseline data is established, the transcript introduces the proximity distractor. The caller notes his daughter's glasses were badly scratched, then mentions her headphones were safe. The audio places the false target, headphones, adjacent to the true target, glasses. This forces the listener to logically reject the false target based on a negative qualifier. The dialogue then introduces chronological constraints. The caller states a recently purchased carpet was soaked by rain and had to be removed, while specifically noting that the rain did not reach a computer. The listener must track the sequence of events to separate what actually happened from what potentially could have happened, mapping the timeline of the damaged carpet against the undamaged computer. Transactional audio operates as a filtering exercise, testing the listener's ability to separate verified target data from immediate contextual noise. Dataset 2 eliminates the second speaker. We shift to a single-speaker instructional format, featuring a woman outlining safety protocols for a youth expedition program. Here, the data extraction rules shift from simple facts to conditional requirements. This schematic illustrates the logic. She outlines safe stove conditions, then issues a warning. Putting a tent near a river seems appealing, but must be avoided. The core complexity then relies on a 6-variable track matrix. Listeners must cross-reference track names with terrain conditions in real time. The logic maps sequentially. North Face matches with a maintenance closure, Blue River with slippery rocks. Pioneer connects forest to coast, while Murray features steep cliff edges. Processing instructional audio demands the real-time construction of a mental matrix to sort incoming, conditionally dependent variables without breaking focus. Dataset 3 introduces multiple perspectives. It is a dialectical analysis between 2 social science students, Kiara and Finn, and their university tutor. As this diagram models, the analytical focus shifts to tracking speaker alignment and identifying moments of consensus. The trio debates a specific transition, the fading importance of fixed job titles, replaced by an economy built on temporary project contracts. Vocabulary complexity increases here. Listeners must process minimum wage, the need to upskill, and work-life balance statistics. Because they debate abstract ideas, speakers use hypothetical scenarios to seek mutual confirmation. We see this when Finn suggests AI in sports refereeing eliminates mistakes. Kiara adds AI lacks bias. They mutually confirm the scenario, aligning their perspectives. This pattern of alignment repeats when they agree that AI could assist doctors through complex emergency medical procedures. Dialectical audio forces the listener to suspend immediate data extraction until a consensus, or a distinct contradiction, is explicitly reached. Dataset 4 is a dense, unbroken academic monologue detailing the Klondike Gold Rush of 1896. This dataset relies on mapping strict chronological sequencing onto spatial progression. The historical journey requires a starting coordinate. The lecturer establishes the origin point for the gold seekers in Alaska, at the coastal town of Skagway. From there, the spatial progression branches into two routes, the rocky White Pass Trail and the incredibly steep Chilkoot Trail. The lecturer introduces logistical constraints, explaining that the extreme incline forced the climbers to make multiple trips just to transport their gear. This visual represents the quantitative ratios embedded in the lecture. Over 100,000 people initially set out, but the hostile environment ensured that only 4,000 actually reached their goal. The text then introduces a mandatory information categorization step, dictated by a strict equipment list enforced by the local police. The listener must catalog the required supplies: winter clothing, digging tools, rope, buckets, and 400 pounds of flour. The lecture then pivots to secondary economic phenomena. Successful individuals were opportunists, capitalizing on the miners by selling supplies and establishing hotels. The final data point anchors the event to the historical record, noting that survival allowed writers like Jack London to document the experience. An academic monologue demands the simultaneous tracking of geography, statistics, categorical lists, and historical figures, all without the aid of a secondary speaker. These 4 transcripts represent a calibrated escalation from simple factual extraction to syntactic abstraction. This diagram synthesizes the core skills we've observed: filtering immediate corrections, parsing multivariable matrices, and tracking dialectical consensus. Applying these analytical models provides a reliable framework for processing high-level academic audio under constraints. This analytical breakdown of linguistic architecture is brought to you by the IELTS FOCUS, Zalo 0847 705 973.